Oh, hi, this is Kim. I just want to show you the very first doll I ever bought. I had never heard of Madame Alexander dolls. I had never collected dolls. And I was in an antique shop and I saw this little, I thought it was a porcelain figurine. And this Argentina girl just caught my eye and I just fell in love with it. And this started a 40-year quest, hobby in collecting dolls. Now, her partner, Argentine boy, I was never able to get. He commanded such high prices by then because he was only issued from 1965 to 66. So he is a Argentine cowboy. He's in the gauchos. He has the horsewhip. And he's probably easier to afford now than he was 30 years ago. Okay, the next three dolls that are really hard to find are Peruvian Boy, issued in 1965 to 66 only. Bolivia, issued 63 to 66 only. And Ecuador, 63 to 66 only. And both girls wear the black shoes with the 2 gold dots. Okay, now on the cover of the 1965 wrist tag, we do have India in the light skin tone as a Bentley Walker, and that's the only year she was issued as such. She also has a darker blue dress that has faded to a grayish color. She came with coin earrings and a really nice double chain necklace. Okay, also in the 1965 wrist tag, we're seeing Italy with a black hat now. That seems to be very hard to find. I have never found one. Also, Italy is the only doll that comes with the 2 red balls on top of her shoes. A Greek boy, he's somewhat hard to find. I bought him in the early 2000s off the internet when digital photos were very grainy and you couldn't make out details that well. So I didn't realize how yellow he was until I got him, and he's missing the black string off his cap. Moving ahead to 1968, this is Bentley Grease. She's basically in mint condition. She has the blue eyes, peachy complexion. She even has the flutter eyes, which you'll see in a minute. And she's my mint in a box doll. And I have to admit, she displays very nicely with the 1992 Grease boy. No, style number 527. They look really nice together. He's got the black pom-poms on black shoes. Really nice outfit. So before I get into the 1968 Bentley dolls, I just want to highlight Israel's, I called them blue stone. They're actually probably blue plastic. They look like maybe blue glass, but they're, I doubt it. And none of the books ever seem to make mention of this, yet I've had 2 dolls with these nice earrings. So I just want to point that out. This is the 1968 wrist tag, and 12 new dolls were added to the lineup. Finland, Korea, Greece, Morocco, Canada, and Japan on the front page. Then Norway, Vietnam, Romania, Portugal, Turkey, and Yugoslavia is on, they are on the second page. Okay, so here's a sample of some 1968 dolls. Of the 12 dolls, 9 will continue well into the 80s, but 3 will be short-lived. Vietnam will be discontinued by 1970, and I don't have her. I don't even have a picture of her. Morocco and Korea, which I do have, will be discontinued by 1971. Okay, so this is Canada. I'm lucky that she has not faded to purple. I don't display her. That's why she's wrinkled, because she's been packed away. But she came in this navy blue, stiff, I guess we're calling it a form of taffeta apron, matching collar, which is reversible. So sometimes you'll see people put this collar on the other way. Okay, and she still does have the nice heavy cotton socks. Whereas Finland, she might be a later version. I get a lot of compliments on that doll. She's very well balanced in her outfit with the big puffy hat and the puffy skirt. She has nylon or polyester. And you can see now they have a seam in the stocking, but that's definitely some kind of polyester material. But she I display in a glass showcase, and she's not been damaged at all by it. Whereas I'm afraid to do that with Canada because of the dark blue, which I know will fade to purple. Put them away. Okay, now Portugal. She was issued in 68. She has that tri-corner hat with the silver button. I guess it's a nod to Portuguese sailors. I'm not really sure. And she's the only doll that didn't come with socks for some reason. Everyone thinks she's missing her socks, but no, all the Portugals were issued without socks. So that's just something to know. And another thing I wanted to mention is check these dress tags. They still should be made of cotton, and you can see like a little fringe at the end, because when the bent knees were discontinued, they were commanding a lot of money. And so some people were actually putting later costumes. And I just realized that today, because I realized I hadn't displayed Russian. And there was always something I was very suspicious about that doll. So I took it out, and sure enough, it has the paper tag, because that costume lasted until the 80s. Some people may put a 1980s costume on a bent knee doll. And, so you can be fooled, that way. I'll put her away. Korea. Okay, so they bring back in the mid-60s, if you can see her, she's on a tall stand. They bring back the Maggie face doll on mostly the Asians and Scotland. By 65, you see Maggie face again on Scotland, but mostly on the Asian dolls. So you'll see them, Korea was issued this way as a Maggie face, but like on Japan, you'll see either the Wendy face or the Maggie face. And this is her costume. And then she will be issued again in another costume, even though she's discontinued by 71. She'll be issued again in the 80s. And I'll show that. Okay, Morocco is my mint in the box doll. And it's kind of hard to find. So I want to keep her mint. I'll take her out. She's got a very, very expensive outfit. So I guess she was hard to find because the more expensive the outfit, the less dolls they made. So she has the satin overcoat, the beautiful brocade dress, a silk sash, silk turban. Okay, she represents a North African country, Morocco. So that's why she's tan-skinned or dark-skinned. And like I said, I have the 68 wrist tag. She's my Knit in the Box doll. And that's why I really don't want to take her out. Because if you have a valuable Knit in the Box doll, the best thing to do is just keep them that way. Don't take them out. Don't display them. And then last but not least is Yugoslavia, which sadly is not a country. I shouldn't say sadly. Well, it does have a very sad history. Yugoslavia literally translates to the South Slavs. So it's many countries of the Balkan Peninsula made up Yugoslavia, which became a country after World War I. All those countries united. And they stayed together until the early 90s, when different parts of the country broke up, and it is now consisted of 7 different countries. And I don't know if you lived through the 90s, but there was a horrible civil war there that lasted almost 10 years that, got some news coverage, but probably not enough. And the problem was, cultural, religious differences. So this doll, Yugoslavia, she's, I think Madame Alexander, is recognizing the Muslim countries of Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Macedonia, and by her face being covered. And then also the babushka of the Croats and and Slovenia, who were mostly Roman Catholic countries. Bosnians are Muslims, and then Serbia, the largest part, is Eastern Orthodox. So it was a lot of religious and cultural conflict, and it was a terrible war in the 90s. And so these dolls can also, bring about a discussion of, history of the 20th century. And, she's a great example. And she's got that pretty blonde hair in a bun. And she's got the full name, Yugoslavia. And she will stay in the lineup until the 80s in that costume. In 1969, no dolls were issued. In 1970, only 2 dolls were issued, and that was Indonesia and Denmark. Now, I no longer have this Indonesia doll. The one on the right is the Bentley with the international wrist tag, and she's in the 779 seafoam box. The one to the left is Indonesia made after 1977. That Asian sculpt face came out in 1977. So you should not buy any doll that has that face and has a wrist tag from an earlier date, like 72, 73. And that's what underneath that overcoat, that's what her dress looks like. The only difference between the two is Indonesia was issued as a Maggie face and has that extra pink plastic decoration on her hat. Okay, now this is Denmark, She's got a 1972 wrist tag. She has the polyester socks now. And she's got the satin, a maroon satin, which again bleeds. The red is another problem with Madame Alexander dolls. Red ribbons, maroon, they tend to, especially if they're satin, they tend to bleed. I guess heat related, because you know, I've had her in her box and the front isn't as bad as the back. But she's a pretty doll. And then last but not least, I just want to show an example of, okay, so this is actually a 1973, the new box. They went from the seafoam green to this blue, but they still have a picture of a young Madame Alexander on it. They won't change until about 1974. So this is 0764, 73. You expect a straight leg doll, but no, we have another Bentley doll. And this is Czechoslovakia. She has the paper tag, the cloth tag. And it's just Czech. Okay, so I guess she just shortened it. But at the time this doll was issued in 72? Yeah, Czechoslovakia was still an intact country. Now, they would later break up into the Czech Republic and Slovakia with the fall of the Soviet Empire, whatever. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that, you know, you will see these boxes are actually very hard to find because they were made 1 year only. Maybe into 1974 you'll see them. But these are the dolls that have what I call sleepers in them. And she's very cute. Very nice, heavy, still heavy felt. And her slip is, well, I have Belgium from the same year. And so they put the same extra knit lace on the slip and on the pantaloons. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this with my hand to do it the fast way. That's what, how Belgium was issued as a nod to Belgian lace, which was, you know, handmade up until the Industrial Revolution. And she has the blue polyester socks, which are cute. So she's a very colorful doll. You know, I like her. And okay, so that's it for my internationals. Next, I'm going to go into the Alex molds, and that will be another video. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've learned something.